You fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous of this is, you should never fight a land war in Asia. So why am I quoting The Princess Bride? Because The Princess Bride was actually quoting Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Anecdotally, the quote has been attributed to a number of different individuals, but for the purposes of our conversation today, Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Later, Field Marshal Viscount Bernard Montgomery. I picked up this book today into my trip into Houston to buy books on the North African campaign to give myself some background, by Alan Moorhead. Alan Moorhead was an Australian journalist attached with Field Marshal Montgomery in North Africa for much of the campaigns 1941 through 1943. Thus had a front row seat to quite a lot of it. What he didn't have a front row seat for, he went and researched and added it to this book later. So not only is this book an absolutely wonderful, fantastic resource, it's really interesting. It has a preface, because the book has been published twice over. It has two different prefaces. The later preface is done by Field Marshal Montgomery. Then you have a forward preface by Field Marshal Wavell. I'm not entirely certain I pronounced that right. However, what makes this so interesting, those two field marshals were both involved in the war in North Africa. Wavell failed while Montgomery, aided in part by the United States and Allied forces, succeeded. So you get to see the forward to this book on North Africa from the viewpoint of both Field Marshal Wavell, one of the first commanders of the armies in North Africa, and then later Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Monty. He's a pretty interesting guy. You gotta go look him up if you don't know much about him. But I'm excited to read this. The parts that I'm mostly interested in are in back here. If you're wondering, as much as I'd love to read the entirety of it, what I need to know is back here. So that's where I'll start. I also picked up a book from A.J. Liebling, another journalist who was in North Africa. So you get to hear from him. And this is what I enjoy doing.